Let's take a look at the compressor and the EQ in the 1954 Baldwin Parlor Grand. As you can see, I've got it loaded into UVI Workstation, although you can also run it in UVI Falcon if you prefer. First thing I want to point out is that both the compressor and the EQ have power buttons. They need to be turned on in order to work. I included power switches because you can have as many as 5 compressors and 5 EQs running simultaneously between the 4 separate mic channels and the master channel. So the default position is off, just to conserve CPU power. So the way to use the compressor would be to first select the channel you want to work with. In this case, the close mic channel. Turn the compressor on, and you've got 3 simple controls here: threshold, ratio, and makeup gain. Pulling the threshold down and increasing the ratio will result in compression. With the threshold here and the ratio here, you've got a pretty nice sounding natural compression. It provides some dynamic control. While it still leaves a natural sounding piano. Bringing that threshold down and or pushing the ratio up farther gives you a squashier sound. Now you can really hear some loss happening, so you can bring up your makeup gain. That's a pretty powerful compression setting there. If you pull the threshold all the way down and the ratio all the way up, you get something that is extremely clipped and squashy. Might be useful for some effect. Not too natural sounding, though. So those are the basic controls. There is a reset button down here on the right. Whenever you see this little back arrow anywhere in the plugin, that's a reset button. There's an A/B switch, which allows you to very quickly compare 2 compression settings. And it's got a copy button and a paste button. So you could lift the compression settings from, say, the close channel, paste it onto the mid mic channel. So let's copy and paste. There you go. That's the compressor. The EQ is a pretty standard parametric EQ. First, turn that power button on. There's a low-pass filter up top. It'll trim highs for you. High-pass filter on the bottom that will trim lows for you. And then there are 3 frequency bands to choose from: high, mid, and low. Each frequency band has a frequency selector on the left, a cut or boost knob in the middle, and a Q control all the way on the right. So first thing you do is select a frequency you want to either boost or cut, and then you can shape that curve. You can make it relatively narrow or relatively wide. And you can apply different EQs to different mic perspectives. So that's what we've got running right now on the close mic. Let's apply something to the mid mic. Solo it first. That's the mid mic. Here's the close mic. So you can blend all kinds of different sounds with this thing. The far mic. So you can really create a wide variety of piano sounds by blending the mic perspectives and playing around with compression and EQ. Once you start doing this kind of stuff, you wind up with a ton of different parameters running at the same time. And I included a global reset button right down here that resets everything back to its default. An easy way to clear the board. So there we go, back to our default setting. One last detail. By default, the signal goes through the EQ first and then hits the compressor. You can reverse that direction by clicking the arrow in between the two modules so that your compressor feeds your EQ. And that's how the compression and the EQ work in the 1954 Baldwin Parlor Grand from Whole Sounds.